What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you are new to the channel, I am Gold Pony, and today we are in the new 2020 Nissan Versa, completely redesigned, courtesy of Apple Nissan in York, PA, and I am excited for this one. As I said, it has been completely redesigned for 2020. This car actually starts at under $15,000. That is a heck of a bargain with better looks for 2020. So what do you say? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. So as you may expect, there will be several different trim levels for the 2020 Versa. First one being the S manual, starting at $14,730. Then you have the S CVT for $16,400. SV with the CVT starting at $17,640. And lastly, the SR paired up with the CVT. That is the one we have today. That one is going to start at $18,240. And so, regardless of trim level, power plant on the 2020 Versa will be the same. Powering this little beast is going to be a 1.6-liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder engine, putting out 122 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 114 pound-feet of torque available at 4,400 RPM, and that power is going to be sent to the front wheels through two transmission options, one of them being a 5-speed manual, the other being a continuously variable transmission, or CVT. And when you put all of that together, MPG numbers come in at 27 city, 35 highway for the manual, 32 city, 40 highway for the CVT. Either way, taking regular unleaded fuel or 87 octanes. That's going to save you a little bit of money there too. But so now, since I've gotten all those specs out of the way, what do you say? Let's go ahead and do a quick little acceleration in the 2020 Versa, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. Here we go. It's not the quickest thing in the world, I do want to admit that, but I would not imagine you would have any issues with merging onto the highway, but still, it's just over 100 horsepower. Don't expect too incredibly much of an acceleration on the Versa, so if you wanted a better acceleration, go with the 370Z. Anywho, to go along with that acceleration, braking is equally important. Up front, you will find 10-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 8-inch rear drum brakes. So the first question everyone is wondering right now is, how is the braking with rear drum brakes? A lot of subcompact cars and compact cars will come with 4-wheel disc brakes, but to be honest, the braking isn't really all that bad. I will say 4-wheel disc brakes is going to give you a little bit better stopping power, but honestly, in my short test drive today, I haven't had any issues bringing the Versa to a stop. It is a lighter car to start with, so for that reason, you probably don't even need 4-wheel disc brakes on this thing. Then touching on suspension and handling a little bit, up front you will find an independent strut front suspension. In the back, a torsion beam rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. As far as the ride quality goes, it is pretty much as expected for its class, so no issues there for me. Steering feel is also pretty much as expected. I would even say it's quite a nimble car. I actually do like the steering feel. It is a little bit heavier of a weight, kind of feels like a go-kart. It does have a flat bottom steering wheel too, and I always like flat bottoms, but I'll get a little bit more into that later in the video. Cabin noise is perhaps, maybe that's one thing that can be improved upon a little bit with the Versa, but still, it's not going to annoy you or anything like that. So, but I will say you do have some exterior noise coming into the cabin, but it's not all that bad. Visibility is absolutely amazing though. Of course, with it being a smaller car and 4 doors, not going to have any issues there. So well done, Nissan, for that. But as you know, I have mentioned the exterior redesign at the beginning of the video. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the outside of this new 2020 Nissan Versa. All right, you guys, and so here it is. If you compare this new 2020 redesign to the 2019 Nissan Versa, you will agree with me. I guarantee you this thing looks so much better than the previous generation, which is awesome considering the price point. So let me give you a little bit of specs here on the new design. It is 2.3 inches lower than the previous generation, 1.8 inches wider, and 1.6 inches longer. So when you put all of that together, it is inevitable you will get a better looking car out of that. So once again, the Nissan Versa, without a doubt, looks like it belongs in the Nissan lineup, especially with the front grille and the floating roof line towards the back, but we'll get into that in a second. So up front, you will find that Nissan signature front grille, and so when it comes to that chrome around that Nissan logo there, will be just standard chrome if you go with the S or SV trim levels. However, if you went with the SR that you were looking at right now, you will find a dark chrome, so a little more aggressive appearance when it comes to that. To the sides, halogen headlights will come standard with the S and SV. They will, of course, also come with the automatic feature, meaning when it starts to get dark out, they're going to turn on automatically for you there, so you don't have to worry about that. LED headlights with LED daytime running lights will come with the SR. That is what you are looking at right now, and that is crazy considering the price point. They look absolutely amazing, and of course, fog lights found just below for the SR trim level as well. But now, let's go ahead and make our way to the side. Like I was saying, first thing I wanted to mention to you guys, let me zoom out a little bit here. Floating roof line, just like the Nissan Maxima, just like the Nissan Altima. That's what I was saying previously. The Versa actually does look like it belongs in Nissan's lineup once again, so that is a good thing. When it comes to those side mirrors, they will be black side mirrors for the S and SR trim level. SR giving you more of a gloss black, so it definitely does look good there. Body colored side mirrors are going to come with the SV, and there will be power side mirrors for every single trim level, and they will be heated with integrated turd signals that you were looking at right now for the SV and the SR trim levels, in case you were curious. But now zooming out a little bit, one of the things that we have to mention, since this is a budget car, you will find black door handles with the S trim level. There will come body colored door handles for the SV and SR. Then taking a look down at the wheel setup, 15-inch steel wheels with covers for the S trim level, 16-inch aluminum alloy wheels for the SV, and you will find 17-inch double 5-spoke aluminum alloy wheels if you went with the SR, of course, that you were looking at right now. So they actually look really good in my opinion. But let's go ahead and make our way to the back. Shark fin antenna found up top there. Body colored rear spoiler is actually just strictly going to come with the SR trim level, so actually a nice little added touch back there. It looks pretty good in my opinion. Also touching on that redesign a little bit, there is a nice design to the taillights, I will say. However, they are not LED taillights, but still, like I was saying, they definitely look good though, so that's nice. And you guys can see those rear parking sensors also located in the rear bumper. I'll touch a little bit more on that when I get to safety, but just below all of it, rear diffuser, believe it or not, will come standard for every single trim level, so that is a nice aesthetic touch in my book. And actually, if you look closely, just above that rear diffuser, although it's plastic, it does kind of have a carbon fiber-ish look to it, so that's kind of cool too. But anywho, just below all of that, you guys know what we have to do next. There is a single exhaust outlet, so here it is. Here is the exhaust clip for the 2020 Nissan Versa. Alright, so now since we are around back, first I want to mention, to open that rear trunk, there actually is a button on the key fob, so that is simply how I'm going to unlock that there. Once opened up, cargo capacity is going to come in at 14.7 cubic feet for the S, and 15 cubic feet for the SV and SR. It is going to differ ever so slightly between those trim levels there. If that was not enough space, however, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down if you were to go with the CVT transmission. If you go with that 5-speed manual, that is not going to be there for you, interestingly, but with the CVT, you can fold those rear seats down for a good bit of extra space there if you needed it. Making our way to the rear legroom then. Rear legroom is actually going to come in at 31 inches. Even for reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. It is a little bit of a tight fit, but the kind of cool thing is the back part of the front seats there, it does have a little bit of give to it. So if you're a little bit taller, your knees can kind of push into that front seat a little bit. So it does make it kind of comfortable for that reason. Another thing though I wanted to mention for those rear passengers is that carbon fiber trim right around the power window buttons once again. And that does continue into the front as well, but it is a nice little accent for those rear passengers. But no rear ventilation back there. Don't need it, honestly. It's a small enough car. You're not going to need that. No rear armrest either. But now let's make our way to the front seats. Cloth seating is going to come standard for all trim levels. That is, of course, what you were looking at right now. There will be 6-way manually adjustable driver's seat for all trim levels and a 4-way manually adjustable passenger seat for all trim levels. Heated front seats are actually going to be optional on the SR trim level. We do happen to have them today, so if you ended up going that route, those heated seat buttons are located just in front of the shifter around the climate control information up front there. But that'll definitely come in handy for the super cold days in Pennsylvania. But looking forward, here's one of my favorite parts: tilt and telescoping steering wheel for all trim levels, leather wrapped for the SR, and it is a very high quality leather, it feels like, but it does have a flat bottom as well, and perhaps that is my favorite part. But let's go ahead and make our way to the startup here. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. All of your buttons are actually going to be located on one side of the key, Nissan logo at the very top. lock, unlock the button to pop the rear hatch, but actually there is a remote start, that little circular button just below the Nissan logo there. That is your remote start, which comes standard on the SR trim level only, therefore the one we have today. So if you were to press that, you could start up the car on a super cold day. It'll help warm it up before you actually get inside, so that's always a plus. But either way, as far as the push button start goes, that is actually going to come standard on every single trim level of the Versa. Even the S trim level that starts at under 15,000, you got a push button start, and that button is located just in front of the shifter. So all I am going to do is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button there. And so, but once started up, yet another awesome feature of the new Versa, there is a partial digital display, partial because the speedometer on the right is not, but everything else on the left side is a full digital display. So you got your tachometer, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, and there's actually a good bit of stuff you could scroll through by using the steering wheel mounted controls on the left side, giving you things like your audio information, your miles per gallon at any given time. There's a digital speedometer you could display over there if you wanted to. Some safety features, and honestly quite a bit. So very impressed with the gauges here on this 2020 Nissan Versa. But continuing on to overall interior quality, again, that matte carbon fiber look, probably my favorite part of this one. That's going to be found everywhere. Chrome interior door handles are going to be found with the SV and SR trim levels. They definitely look very good, very high end as well. And there's a black piano finish, I guess you could say, around some of the air vents as well as just around the shifter there. Just in front of the shifter, you have a small cubby area along with a USB charging port, auxiliary port, and 12-volt power outlet there. Just behind the shifter, there's a very shallow cubby area as well as 2 cup holders. And actually behind the cup holders, you have 2 more USB charging ports. So if you had some rear passengers, they could probably hook their cable up to those right there, and that would work for them as well, or the front passenger, whoever. But that is pretty cool that they are there. And I do like all of the orange accents as well. There's some nice orange stitching just above the passenger side glove box here, and it does feel like a leather finish around that stitching as well, which actually continues right around the infotainment screen here. And speaking of, when it comes to that infotainment screen, there is a 7-inch color touchscreen display for every single trim level, along with Bluetooth and audio streaming for all trims. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay will come standard for SV and SR trim levels, but not the S, unfortunately. But Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is pretty cool because that gives you free navigation through your smartphone. So all you need to do is hook your smartphone up to the Versa. That is going to give you Google Maps if you have an Android phone, but I use that every single day on my own car. I absolutely love it. You can also like and dislike your Pandora songs up there with that as well. And speaking of the sound system, of course, you can check out your radio information up there. 4-speaker sound system is going to come with the S and SV trim levels. There will be a 6-speaker sound system with the SR. So I think you guys know what we have to do next. Let's turn on the radio here, see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. It's pretty much as expected. 6 speakers is pretty standard. Decent amount of bass for that. Honestly, more than enough loudness for the size of the car that the Versa is, but not a bad sound system there with the 6 speakers. But so then last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the tech display at least is when you do put the 2020 Versa in reverse, you will find a rear view camera for every single trim level, letting you know who or what is behind you, which is always is going to lead us into safety. And so to start, there are front side, inside curtain airbags, but also driver and passenger knee airbags as well. That does not come standard on most vehicles out there. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Also rear child door locks back there. There's going to be a tire pressure monitoring system. That is all pretty standard stuff, but Nissan took it a step further. For the 2020 Versa, also standard will be automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane departure warning, and rear automatic braking. That is a lot of safety features that often come as an option available with other manufacturers. But in addition to that, the SV trim level is also going to add a blind spot warning system with rear cross traffic alert, and of course the blind spot warning system being those little car indicators in the side mirrors to prevent you from turning into somebody else. And so, but that is about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media at the bottom of the screen if you like. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know, and I will see y'all in the next video. Stay gold.